Today I'm going to show you a basic way in which we can stretch our low backs and hips, more of like a mobilizer than anything. The first one I'm going to go over with you is called an LTR. I'm just going to go ahead and get on the ground now. And once I'm on my back, I'm going to bend both knees and keep them together. All right, I'm going to ensure that my low back is in a nice neutral to flex position, so not too arched up, kind of get it a little bit towards the floor. My arms are going to be out to the sides, and I'm slowly and gently rocking my knees from left to right. And whilst keeping my back in that neutral position, as I'm going from left to right, I should feel a nice stretch in the low back area. And you don't want to force the stretch, you want to allow it to be very passive and kind of let your range of motion dictate as to how far over you go from left to right. Shouldn't be painful. If it's painful at all, you can always stop. But if you're feeling that nice stretch in the low back area, you can resume, okay? And sometimes in raising the arms out to shoulder height, it'll allow the stretch to travel a little further up into the mid back. That's just a good way of getting that area mobilized safely, as opposed to bending over, touching your toes, or rounding or wrenching your back. It's always best to do it this way, okay? So that's your LTR. The next variation I'm going to show you is more for the hips. It's called a hip drop. And with this one, you can keep your arms at your sides, but your feet are going to be a little bit wider than hip width apart. Again, you're going to get that low back a little more flexed or flattened to the floor. And then we're letting our knees slowly and gently rock from left to right. So as I'm going this way, I feel a nice stretch in the left inner hip and the right outer. And then as I go the other way, I should feel the opposite effect. Okay? And again, you want to go nice and slow, nice controlled motion. Any pain or clicking in the hips, you can definitely stop. But if you're feeling that stretching sensation, then you know you're on the right track. Okay? And you can go anywhere from 2 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10 of these. It's just a safe, passive, easy way of getting your hips to open up before you go out for a run, go on a golf course, lift weights, whatever activity you're looking to do where you want your hips to be nice and warm. This is something you can do. So here's the mobilizer for the upper or mid back. It's called a T-spine open book. You can use a rolled up towel or a pillow just to keep your head positioned correctly as you'll be lying on your side. In this case, or in this instance, I have a foam roller, which gives a pretty good circumference as far as head and neck positioning and alignment. So again, I'm gonna lie on my side, letting my head rest on the foam roller, bending my knees, and I'm stacking my hands, keep my shoulders down. From here, I'm gonna slide my right hand over my left, slide it back, and as I reach up and over, my head follows my hand, getting a nice stretch in the chest, front of arm area while engaging the upper back behind the shoulder, and then reversing the motion, sliding right hand over left, and then going right back into it. Okay. Ideally, you want to keep those knees pressed down. You don't want them to separate, or else you'll be taken away from the exercise, the isolation of the exercise. And I recommend doing 2 sets of 10 of this per side. You'll definitely feel one side's a little tighter than the other. And if so, you always want to do an extra set on that tighter side, okay? Let's switch. Okay, nice and easy. And when you're at the extended position, there's nothing wrong with splaying the fingers, opening the hands up. That'll give an even deeper stretch to the bicep tendon area and allow you to open up a little more. And that's the T-spine open book. So the next mobilizer that I'm going to show you is a cat-cow. A lot of people may have seen this in maybe a yoga studio or in a yoga video, but it's a really good way of mobilizing your spine from a quadruped position on hands and knees. So I'm getting on hands and knees. My hands are directly under my shoulders, my knees are directly under my hips. And then from there, I'm just letting my low back sag under, squeezing my shoulder blades. And then from there, I'm gonna push my hands and knees to the floor, getting my low back and upper back to round. My head drops as I do this. Then I reverse the motion, keeping my shoulders down and back, feeling the low back, upper back engage, holding for about 2 to 3 seconds per position. And you can go anywhere from 1 to 2 sets of 10 of this. This is really meant to just kind of give a little mobility to your spine and allow you to feel the stretch between the shoulder blades as well. And that's a cat-cow. So the next mobilizers for the low back are pretty basic, very elementary, but if performed correctly, make a world of difference as far as mobilizing the small of your back, the low back, and it's as simple as pulling the knees to the chest. So I'm gonna lie on my back, I'm flattening my back against the floor, getting a little flexion to the spine, and with my knees bent to start, I'm gonna bring my left knee up, and as soon as it comes within arm's reach, I'm gonna use my hands to passively pull my knee into my chest. And that provides a nice stretch on that left side of my low back. Okay, and then I'm gonna switch legs, keeping that low back flat against the surface, feeling a nice stretch in that low back lumbar area. And I'm holding the pull for about 3 seconds. You can go anywhere from 2 sets of 10 of this. Again, you can do this if you feel like your back is stiff, if you feel like you wanna stretch your back out before activity. It's just a safer way than bending over and touching your toes, right? Your back's on a nice, stable environment, which is the floor. Okay, so that's the alternating knee to chest. Another variation, both knees to chest. So knees bent, bringing them in. As soon as they come within arm's reach, using your arms to passively pull the knees in, and then ease out of it. Pulling in, keeping that low back flat, getting a nice stretch on both sides at the same time in the low back area.